Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn History Chapter 1 Introduction to History. This is the Chapter 1 of SST of Class 6. So first we will study what is history. तो पहले हम ये जान लेते हैं कि history क्या है. When the past events are studied carefully and systematically on the basis of available material remains and records, it's called history. And the person who carries out such studies and records the findings is called a historian. तो हिस्ट्री का मतलब है स्टडी ऑफ द पास्ट के बारे में स्टडी करने को हिस्ट्री बोलते हैं और ये कहाँ से आया है? ये ग्रीक वर्ड हिस्टोरिया से आए हैं और जो व्यक्ति इस विषय में स्टडी करते हैं उनको हम हिस्टोरियन कहते हैं. History helps us in many ways. It lets us understand people and societies. It lets us understand change and how the society we live in came to be. It provides moral understanding. It gives us identity. It teaches us how to research and analyze evidences. It records the changes that have taken place over a period of time. So history is very important. Now, do you know how historians arranges the events? They do it in the chronological order. What do you mean by chronological order? Chronology is the way events are arranged in or according to the order of time. Knowledge of the past in the correct order gives us an idea of what happened first and what came later. Historians or people who study the past use chronology as the first step towards understanding historical events. तो पास्ट में कौन सी घटना के बाद कौन सी घटना घटी इसके नॉलेज गैदर करने के लिए ये जो ऑर्डर में सिस्टमेटिक वे में टाइम टू टाइम इन ए सीक्वेंस और इन ए ऑर्डर जो स्टडी करते हैं इसको हम बोलते हैं क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर. In history, we find dates with BC or AD. BC is the short form of before Christ and AD means Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord. The dates before the birth of Christ are referred to as BC. It is called before Christ or BCE, means before the Common Era. The dates are counted backwards in BCE. The bigger the number when the date is BCE, the earlier it happened. For example, 100 BCE comes before 99 BCE. Now, CE means Common Era. The years after Christ's birth are referred to as CE or Common Era, or AD means Anno Domini, which in Latin means the year of the Lord. For example, these years are counted forward, like 99 CE comes before 100 CE. AD is usually written before the number. For example, AD 150 means 150 years after the birth of Christ, and in the recent times we usually do not put AD before the year. Thus, the dates for BC go backwards. Thus, 232 BC will come before 185 BC. To calculate the number of years between a date in BC and one in AD, the two should be added together. For example, 250 BC and AD 150 means 400 years. Prehistory. We have already read about history. What is history? The study of past. Now, prehistory क्या है? जिसके past में कुछ written records नहीं है, उसको हम prehistory कहते हैं. At the beginning, man did not lead a settled life, but wandered from place to place. He did not know how to read and write. The period of man's existence for which we have no written record is called prehistory. And that period of time for which we have written records is known as history. Historians are more like detectives. They have conclusion from clues and evidences which are also called source materials. We can learn about the events of the past from many sources. There are literary, archaeological, and oral sources. Mainly, the source materials are of two types, archaeological and literary. But there are oral sources from where we can know about the past. For examples, for oral sources like stories, songs, myths, from these also we get to know about the past. So the first one is literary source. Literary sources refer to the written records of the past. Paper was introduced around the 13th century in India. Before its introduction, documents were written on palm leaves and barks of beech trees. It's called Bhojpatra. These documents are called manuscripts. Manuscripts का मतलब क्या है? Any document written by hand before the arrival of printing. जो document हाथ से लिखा गया हो, प्रिंटिंग तो तब के दिन में नहीं थे, तो उस टाइम पे हाथ से लिखे गए स्क्रिप्ट को manuscripts कहते हैं. Inscriptions too are literary sources. Now, literary sources can be classified into indigenous and foreign sources works. Indigenous literary sources can further be divided into sacred and secular literature. Writings on religious themes are referred to as sacred or religious literature. The Vedas, the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata, the Buddhist Tripitakas and the Jainas Angas are some examples of sacred literature. तो जो धर्म के ऊपर लिखा गया हो उसको हम sacred और religious literature कहेंगे, जैसे कि रामायणा एंड महाभारता. Now, writings which are not religious in nature are termed as secular literature. This includes poetry, drama, works on grammar, science, politics, etc. For example, Arthashastra by Kautilya, Abhigyanam Shakuntalam by Kalidasa, and folk tales such as Panchatantra are some examples of secular literature. The archaeological source material includes things like tools and weapons, pottery, paintings, sculptures, jewelry, coins, buildings, and seals. These sources gives us information about how people lived in the past, the level of development of the society, and so on. तो एंटीक weapons, pottery, पेंटिंग, स्कल्पचर और ज्वेलरी, कॉइन्स, इन सब से हमें उस टाइम के बारे में पता चलते हैं कि उस टाइम पे लोग कैसे जीते थे, सोसाइटी कैसे डेवलपमेंट हुए थे, एक्सेट्रा. Inscription were an important means of recording information during the past. These are writing engraved or carved on relatively hard surfaces such as stone tablets, pillars, metal pellets, etc. Sometimes kings got their orders and instruction inscribed so that the people could see, read, and obey them. The study of inscription is called epigraphy. Temples, forts, palaces, and other grand structures that were built are referred to as monuments. The study of these monuments gives us information about the condition of the time when they were built, the artistic skill of that time, the religion promoted by those who had built them, etc. The Sachi Stupa and the Ashok pillars are examples of some ancient Indian monuments. तो टेम्पल्स, फोर्ट, पैलेसेस, इन सब मोन्यूमेंट से हमें क्या पता चलता है? उस टाइम पे उनके कैसे आर्टिस्टिक स्किल्स थे, कौन सी रिलीजन को प्रमोट करते थे और कैसा मतलब बिल्ड उनके अंदर जो बिल्डिंग बनाने की जो स्किल थी वो कैसे थी, इन सब के बारे में हमें पता चलता है. So, learning about the past is like an adventure. Historians and archaeologists are like detectives who use all the available resources like clues to find out about our past. Hope you have enjoyed learning the first chapter of history. So, keep learning and love history. Thanks for watching.